No, of course not. Well, I mean, first you ask yourself if this is a joke or real, right? Because fake as a name and all this stuff, and Ai Weiwei and all this. But after that, it's kind of exciting. I was already working in China. I was there for like 2 years before, so I was kind of used to this kind of crazy ideas from the Chinese, and I was involved in one of them in Teda, in the port city of Tianjin, which is a similar story. So I was not shocked. Paco was like, "What the hell is this? You know, like how can you?" But no, it was very exciting, very nice. Yes, I was in contact with his work. There's a gallery in Chelsea, walking distance from here, that shows his work usually. And I mean, I used to go to see Richard Serra things at Gregosian and then pass by there and take a look and stuff. I don't think, besides the conceptual impact of this, I don't think there's any relationship between his work and the project, because it's so diverse. It looks like Disney World. If you look at the big model, it's unrelated with his ideas. There's some studios for artists that he designed there, and if you look carefully at the basis of this, the way they describe the project, you can hint that he was trying to refer to his way of doing these buildings, but nobody really followed that. So no. It's kind of difficult because one of the things that we're very used here in New York and also in Puerto Rico and in South America in general, and where we practice in Miami, is this friction with the client, right? When you propose something extreme, they come back, it's like a sumo fighting, until you get to, somebody gets tired enough to say, okay, here we settle a point, and you do the best you can with that. When that is gone, it's like being high on drugs. You can do whatever, but is that real? So it's interesting. So we were kind of our own devil's advocate, and then the technical limitations of the site, the material restrictions because of the level of education of the workers there, and that also starts putting limits to you. So then what you end having is these big intentions for the at least us for the house, and try to preserve them as much as possible while doing the best you can in this very difficult place. As I said, I was working there before in China, so I was fully aware of what they could do and what they couldn't, and also was fully aware of what they say they cannot do and they really can, and the opposite. In China, what you have is when you come from a foreign country and you produce a project, you go up to no farther in than design development, because they have these institutes, which is these huge offices with lots of architects and professionals that will develop the project. So what you have to do is be careful not to go to certain technical challenges that these guys will not be able to resolve themselves. In that sense, you have to, it's like walking on glass. It's difficult to push the boundary on one side, and they like that, and that's why they invited us. But on the other hand, knowing that the decisions in terms of details and the way this building will finally look does not depend on you. It depends on them, and that is scary and also fascinating, because it shows you the roughness of the process, right? We like a couple of years ago, I asked myself that question in terms of everything we were producing here, and then we came up with a PowerPoint called Why, which is trying to explain what we do, and it was like doing therapy. It was very good for us because we finally understood and the frame within which we would produce our projects. I mean, I met Paco a long time ago in Boston, and we both like to we were always involved in architectural theory and all this stuff. We both went to Harvard, So we come from a place where thinking is kind of usual. So we're interested in mathematical models and in the generation of form and the production of function through this form in architecture in general. So and this is the way we produce the initial architectural intentions. This means, if you look at our site, our house was at the end of the main street that enters the project. So we decided to leave the house in order to allow the the views to go through the lawn. And then we had to have once we had this elevated house, we had a living room that had to face south, and the master bedroom also. We have a very thin lot, so it was almost impossible. So then we said, well, the only way to do this is by doing this with the house, and then we don't do this. So then we do this, and that generates a main space, which is the public space of the house. And then you start this conversation between your methods and what they produce and what you need and the intentions, and you have a project. I think it was a great experience. In order to get in touch with some other professionals, meet people from other parts of the world. I knew a lot of the people who were there, but the ones that I didn't, it was very interesting. It was good for us to, in order to explore some ideas also. And I think it was very beneficial. There's other issues like getting paid and stuff like that, but that's normal here and there and everywhere. So I'm very happy about it. The German experiment from the 20s were much less houses, and there was a euphoria attached to the production of architecture those days with social ideas and all this. Today, if there's such a thing as euphoria, it's attached to fashion maybe. And in China everything is brutal, so instead of having 20 you have 100. It makes sense. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but it would look a lot like I don't know, like these shows like the one in Seville when in the 90s when they did all these pavilions, or it's going to look like that. The only problem is that people will live there, so I really don't know what will happen. It is an experiment. Not in the way we practice. We were not guided by those kind of rules at all. We don't do that usually. We are not contextual architects in that sense. So it could be 1,000, it could be 10. It doesn't really matter. In terms of the impact at a media level and as a shock level, yes, of course, 100 is a powerful number, and you put 100 people there, and then it was ridiculous. Every time we got there was this TV camera following us like movie stars all over the place, and the bus and the blinking lights of the police and the whole thing. So in that sense, yes, it has an impact, but in terms of the production of architecture, not for us. I don't have a dream commission really. I used to believe that there was such a thing as a dream commission. Then you start getting commissions that either have the size or the importance, and then you suffer so much through the process of doing that that I think that there's a lot of potential in a tiny project, and there's a lot to lose in a big project too. So the dream commission is a commission where the client will not drive you crazy, and will but will be serious enough to participate in his role, and will allow you to get to the point where you want to get. Such a thing doesn't exist. So